Our project focuses on modern-day gender constructs in the media and how it affects society. I'm Liza Aid, and I created an Instagram page with posts regarding gender stereotypes, how media portrays gender, and gender norms. For example, one of my posts was this: social media platform restrictions and sex. Many platforms restrict pornography and depictions of sex, but that also includes nudity and artistic, activist, and self-documentary expressions. In doing so, many vulnerable communities were hurt by this. The LGBTQ plus youth were limited on discussing their experiences and finding their sense of identity. Youth also looks for information regarding sexual activity on the internet. By banning sexual images and information on social media, it limits the quality and information and sends messages that sex in your body is not normal, creating shame and stigma. This shame is especially targeted at the LGBTQ plus community. I also discussed how media normalizes violence against women. Media portrays aggression in males and passivity in females. There is evidence linked to that portrayal and violence within relationships. The more women see sexual violence in media, the more likely they are to perceive this as normal in a relationship and less likely to object to it. Exposure to sexual violence in the media normalizes it in real life relationships, therefore associating abuse and violence with love and sex. Gender in the media. Media affects how people form identities, social norms, and values related to gender. All media depicts images of gender, which influences unrealistic, stereotypical, and limiting perceptions. I also found other posts on Instagram focused on gender and gender ads. For example, one of the ads that was discussed was how all men about men not needing to cry. After all, do men even need tissues? Do real men even cry? The few that do probably wipe their tears or blow their nose with sandpaper, a harmful stereotype reinforced by advertisements. Another post that shocked me was a COVID advertisement telling people to stay home. And as you can see in the images, it is women doing the housework. I also decided to discuss different terms such as gender binary, the system that breaks gender into two distinct and opposite categories, which is not necessarily true in our society today. Gender identity, our deeply held internal sense of how we display masculine and feminine. This can be ever changing for some people, and congruence, which is the feeling of harmony with our gender. And that is all for my presentation.
Hi everyone, my name is Claudette Duenas, and I created a newspaper article on gender in film, in popular film. So what I want to talk about is gender performance and equal representation, and how it's important in popular film, and how these stereotypes that's often portrayed in film leads to sexualization and objectification of women, and how this affects viewers' life, like people in real life. And then also, I found this film, Little Miss Sunshine, that actually breaks those gender norms. And there's many more other examples, like the image I have right there on the left with Hidden Figures. They also break stereotypes. So my first article says, popular film and gender performance. So popular films have been one of the most consumed types of entertainment since the late 1800s. Film has been able to capture and sometimes even alter reality as technology has advanced throughout the years. Given the power of this technology we have at our disposal, it is crucial to think about how we are utilizing it. In this article, we will talk about how gender representations in popular film impact viewers' identity and gender expectations in real life. People's worldviews are significantly influenced by the movies they watch. Popular movies' representations of gender are one method of achieving this. Viewers' self-perceptions and perceptions of the world around them may be impacted by these representations. These films may also have an impact on how viewers present their gender in everyday social situations to others. Gender stereotypes in popular movies can be harmful to both men and women. They may promote negative stereotypes and offer a constrained understanding of what it is to be a man or a woman. It's important to be conscious of these representations and how they could influence people and their behaviors. So, what is gender performance? There has been an increase in the number of academic studies on gender performance in recent years. This field of study looks at how people express their gender identities in their daily interactions and behaviors. There is still much to learn about the complicated and multifaceted topic of gender performance. However, comprehending gender performance can aid in our knowledge of how gender is constructed in society and culture. Moreover, this information can be applied to challenge damaging gender stereotypes and build more inclusive places for everyone. The concept of gender performity states that gender is something we learn and perform through our interactions with other people rather than something we are born with. Gender theorist Judith Butler first put forth this idea in 1990, and it has since generated a lot of discussion and been used in a variety of contexts. Gender performity contradicts the notion that there are two static and opposing genders, making it a valuable approach to think about gender. Additionally, it creates space for gender roles and expression to change and become more fluid. So I want to talk about this chart I have at the top. It was just they're basically words that are used to describe stage directions. So the red represents words that are often used for females, and the blue represents what is often used for males, and they're very different. Like with girls, it says that they blush, they cry, and with men, it's like they strapple and they shoot. So it's more like it's just the words really tell you what stereotypes are being put for men and women. And then another article here is about the sexualization of women in film, titled "The Headless Women of Hollywood: Objectification of Women on Screen." So why is gender performity and representation important in film? Gender performativity in film is important for a variety of reasons. First, it aids in developing believable and relatable characters that viewers may identify with. Second, it gives a story being recounted more context and nuance. Thirdly, it may prompt audiences to consider gender in new and interesting ways. But while gender representation is crucial for all movies, it is crucial in particular for movies that tackle gender issues or feature strong female protagonists. These movies have the potential to alter the way we view gender by developing appealing, relatable characters. Both on screen and in the production world, women have received inadequate representation. Women were frequently represented in the early days of Hollywood as femme fatales or damsels in distress, and with little nuance or depth. And even though things have gotten somewhat better recently, there is still a long way to go. Over the last 20 years, television has conveyed an overwhelming diffusion of messages that stereotype and objectify women by portraying them as passive, dependent on men, compliant, and sexual objects, namely mere bodies. And the effects of these types of portrayals are damaging. Since movies frequently depict women as the victim or as merely objects, their perception of themselves may be distorted and they may find it difficult to see themselves in any other light. Sexualization of women happens in a variety of ways. From the way women are photographed to the way they're portrayed in storylines. This is an issue because it contributes to the objectification of women in society, and the concept that women are not equal to men is reinforced when they are viewed as objects for male gratification. These images right here on the right are found by or put together by Marcia Belsky. She originally started the Headless Women of Hollywood blog in 2016 to highlight the way women are objectified on screen. And this leads to sexual harassment and how this relates to film and reality. Over 2 studies observing the effects of gender performance on audiences. Study 1 showed that men exposed to objectifying TV reported gender proclivity to engage in sexual coercion and manifested more gender harassing behavior than participants in other conditions. Study 2 further demonstrated that exposure to objectifying TV increased participants' conformity to masculine gender norms. Together, the 2 studies suggest that media content plays a central role in activating harassment-related social norms, which in turn encourage or inhibit harassing conduct. This study goes to show the powerful role film plays in the behaviors of both men and women. And lastly, I want to talk about this film, Little Miss Sunshine. Little Miss Sunshine came out in 2006, and it revolves around a dysfunctional family traveling to enter their daughter, who is an elementary student, into a beauty pageant. The movie serves as a platform to explore the expectations of femininity. Olive, the story's main character, disrupts conventional gender expectations by acting out her gender in defiant ways at the pageant. While everyone was expecting her to perform a sweet dance, she performs a striptease, an overtly sexualized dance that horrified the audience. The irony here is that these pageant girls are already sexualized. They are little girls dressed as grown women. Yet they are accepted because they follow the prescribed ways of gender performance. Meanwhile, Olive completely defied it by bringing sexuality to the forefront. With Olive's interruption, gender is essentially exposed as a performance, particularly one that is mediated by social factors. And that is my presentation. Thank you.